All these hiking boots are under $50. This pair right here was $16.90. I can't count how many times I scrolled past cheap hiking gear on Amazon because I thought there's no way it can be any good. I got to thinking, what if I'm wrong? Is there really a difference between a $17 pair of no-name boots and paying $150 for a pair of boots from Columbia or North Face? Have I been overpaying for all of my gear? I decided that I need to find out. I bought 5 pairs of boots from Amazon. All of them are under $50 and I'm going to test them out. You can't really tell if you found a good pair of hiking boots when you're in the store. You only get to wear them for a minute, maybe walk around the store. I know I'm not the only one who's found a pair that felt really good at the time, but once you hit the trail, you're getting a blister on your toe, your arches are on fire, the skin on the back of your heels being rubbed raw. So that's why I'm going to test each of these boots for an entire week each, and I'm going to make them my main shoe. So I'm going to wear them out on hikes, I'm going to wear them when I go to work, I'm going to wear them when I'm working in the yard, I'm going to wear them when I'm running errands, and I'm going to do my best to put them through their paces and see how they do. I'm going to start with the cheapest pair of boots and work my way up. I got these for $16.90 on Amazon, and the name is TSIODFO. Leather snow boots for men, winter warm walking shoes, the cold weather insulated with fur, outdoor hiking, trekking, casual boot. I guess if you don't have any name recognition, you just gotta stuff the title with keywords. Considering the price, they don't look all that bad. There's this furry lining on the inside here, and that's because they're advertised as a winter boot. So I'm concerned if my feet are gonna get hot in them. Even the insole here, let me see if I can grab it. Even the insole has that same furry lining in it, and it's like really soft. I think I feel really comfortable in there, but you can see the insole is very thin, very flimsy, so I am already feeling my arches hurt. My first impression is that furry lining does feel good. Let me see, stand up here and see how they feel. There isn't a ton of support, but I'm gonna withhold judgment until I have a chance to put some miles on them. I've been wearing the boots for about 4 days now, and I'll say I'm surprised how good they felt. I haven't had any rubbing, any pinching. They've been pretty comfortable. My feet have felt good. When I first put them on, I was like, boy, these feel like they're not gonna give my arches the support they need. Both my feet feel, pretty good actually. One con that I have noticed is that even though my feet have been comfortable, the soles feel a little thin. They don't have that extra support and cushion that I'm used to out of a good pair of hiking boots. I haven't taken them on the hiking trail yet. I'm gonna do that in the next day or so. I will say that the soles have broken in pretty well. When I first took a look at the soles, it kind of feels like that, not quality rubber, had kind of this plasticky feel to it, so I was concerned how well it was going to stand up, but they've actually broken in pretty well. I'm up in the mountains escaping the heat of the city, and I figured this is the perfect time to test out the boots. Now they say that they're waterproof, they're made of PU leather, and I was like, what's PU leather? So I looked it up. That's polyurethane leather, so synthetic leather, and they say it's supposed to be waterproof. So I am standing in this marshy water here by this lake, and I'm doing a little test here and see if my feet get wet while I'm waiting to see how they do. I figured it'd be nice to see what the reviews are like on these particular pair of boots. Bugs out here are crazy. Okay, so on Amazon, it has a rating of 4.3, and that's out of 366 reviews. I pulled a 5-star review and a 1-star review, so we can see if we get an idea of how well these boots can do, especially over time since I'm only testing out for a week. So this first review is a 5-star review. Great shoes for snow. These boots work great. Don't get water in them, and they will serve you well. Keeps your feet warm. I have 4E width, and these fit me perfectly, so definitely recommend to people with wide feet. No weird smell, and the value and price was fine. It had good grip too, but as with snow you can still definitely slide. Now we're gonna go to a 1-star review. And when I first read this one, I was like, man, this person felt really strongly about these shoes here. This shoe was made for that special guy that treads only in the halls of manufactured comfort. I was like, okay, great, as macho looking slippers. Please don't wear these outside where nature can easily soil them. After 3 months of wearing, the stitches have burst and the faux leather peeled apart from its sublayer. My feet have been colder and wetter than the boots these replaced. So this person obviously did not like it. I definitely don't think these are 5-star boots. I don't know if they're 1-star boots yet, but we'll see. So far, it's been, I don't know, standing here for 5 minutes or so. The water is just right up to where the laces are and nothing has happened. So just walked out of the water, and I take back my comment before. I'm starting to feel a little moisture. So I have concern about how waterproof these boots are. This is the last day I'm testing out these boots, so I'm taking them out for a hike to see how they feel and hold up. I've been thinking about how I want to rank all 5 pairs at the end of this video. I think I'm gonna go with comfort, style, durability, and price, and we'll see how all 5 of them stack up. This ended up being a great trail to test these boots out on. I was concerned about how thin the soles were and how it would feel on a rough, rugged trail, and this trail definitely is rough and rugged. There's rocks all over the place and roots, and I can tell you that these boots do not feel good on this hike. I can feel every single rock as I'm stepping on them. So this is a major con for these boots. A new week means new shoes. This week is the Norvis 8. I got these for $25. They have the standard hiking boot look, and it's advertised as a work/hiking boot. Check out the insole here. The insole is definitely better than the insoles on that first pair of boots. Got a little bit more structure and cushion to them. Just standing here, the boots feel pretty good. The extra cushion on the insoles feels nice. I am concerned, it feels like on the outer edge of my right foot there's a spot where it might rub. We'll see how they do. It's Friday evening. I've been wearing the boots all week, and I have been surprised with how comfortable they felt. There was that spot I was worried about maybe rubbing. It hasn't rubbed at all, and these boots are a completely different experience than the last pair. These are advertised as hiking boots / work boots, and if you look at the Amazon site, it's definitely heavily advertised as more of a work boot than a hiking boot. So they are durable. I'm not worried about that thin sole issue that I had with the last pair. There's a little bit of extra, hardened rubber on the toe for some extra protection, and overall they are pretty comfortable. One thing I will say is that they feel a little heavy and clunky. A good quality pair of hiking boots are made well, are comfortable, but also pretty light. These, I'm not concerned about, feeling the rocks in my bottom of my feet, but I think after a long hike in these, man, it started to feel heavy. I did have one issue. Let me see if I can show it here. Yeah, so I was trying to lace them up, and the outer part came off. So I was like, okay, that seems, surprising, but I guess that's a relatively small fix. I'm gonna go ahead and read some of the reviews on Amazon to see what other people's experience are with these boots. I found a 5-star review here. This person says, for $25, these boots are amazing. Overall good quality and comfort is great. Little slippery on wet surfaces, and if you do construction, no hard tip toe, but great for everyday use around home or work. Worth the money times 10. So that's a pretty decent review. I found a 1-star review here. It says, dislike, worn only 3 days for 8 hours a day, and within the 3rd day during my working, the lace loop metal clip already broke, shaking my head. Not happy, will be asking for refund. So this person had some issues as far as the overall quality. I haven't seen any kind of issues around the lace loops myself, but that's good to know. I've walked maybe a little over a mile so far in this hike, and I feel I have a pretty good idea about how these boots are going to perform in feel. I will say they are definitely better than the first pair. The sole is thicker, so I'm not feeling the rocks and the roots as I'm hiking, and they don't feel horrible, but the boots don't feel great. My feeling that they might feel kind of clunky and heavy is true. These boots are fine for, a relatively easy hike, maybe a few miles or so, but I don't see myself wanting to do a real long hike in these boots. So they advertise them as hiking / work boots. I definitely put them more towards the work boot side of things as far as the feel and the comfort. So they don't feel bad, but they don't feel great. I'm gonna hold off on my final judgments until I get a chance to wear all 5 of them and get a better idea of what to expect in this price range. New week, new boots. It's actually Friday. This next pair of boots I've been wearing all week, and it is the Care Nurse boot, and not the most aesthetically pleasing out of all the boots so far. Let me read this title here. Men's lightweight hiking boot, water resistant mid-ankle work casual hiker, trekking outdoor boots, anti-slip hiking boots. Another catchy name. And my feelings about the boot after wearing it all week are mixed. We'll see how it goes. Probably the thing as far as overall comfort, they're not bad. They also have that little fur inner lining that was on that first pair of boots, and that's actually was very, very comfortable. The insole in there is very flimsy. Probably the biggest place I noticed where it was giving me problems, you can see here when I walk, it creases. That crease right there, and it was actually smashing my toe. So that got to be uncomfortable after a while. I haven't taken these out for a hike yet. I'm going to do that over the weekend, so I'm concerned about how well they're going to hold up and how comfortable they're going to feel doing, a few mile hike. And speaking about hiking, on the last pair of boots, when I gave my status check, I was probably a mile and a half or so into the hike, and it felt, like I said, okay. But at about the 3-ish mile mark, it really started to hurt, rubbing up on the upper ankle to the point that it was hurting like for a couple of days afterwards. So those ones are going to take a major hit when I do my final evaluation. So I just want to give you the update on that. I don't think I mentioned the price of the boots yesterday. I got them for $29.99, which puts them on the upper limit of my $50 cap for this test. I'll share some of the Amazon reviews, and it looks like it gets 4.1 stars out of 5 out of 1,793 reviews. And I'm gonna find a 5-star review and a 1-star review, and we'll see the difference. I found a 5-star review here. Purchased over a year ago and very pleased with them, very comfortable and all around good fit, will buy again. And so brief. I found that typically the 5-star reviews are briefer. People have more to say about a 1-star review. Let's see if we can find a good 1-star review here. I found a good 1-star review. This person is very passionate. Let's see what it says here. The title, "It's a Boot." The price seems good. They're not comfortable. It is something that a break-in period is needed. Since the shoe is not leather, I'm hoping for the best. Overall, I think it's priced at the higher end. If I saw that displayed, I would never give it a second look. Just pass it by. Update, I wore them and there's nothing remotely good about them. After an hour on, I set it up and returned them. It's like wearing 2 bread bags with socks on and duct tape holding it up. There is ability for feet to breathe. Horrible. Okay. I don't know if I will go agree with everything this person has to say with their 1-star review. Bread bags with duct tape. I don't know if that fully accurately represents my feelings after a week of wearing these boots, but I don't Oh, I'm skeptical. I'm skeptical about that 5-star review. Also about holding up after 1 year. I don't think these are gonna make it 1 year if you're wearing these to hike and to put in regular, work. I've made it through the rockiest section of this trail, and these boots remind me of that first pair. I think they're about $16.90, where the sole was just soft, so you could feel every rock and root. And this is the same way. I think on a long trail, it would just really take a toll on my feet. So remind me a lot of those. I'm not a fan of that. I like a little extra cushion, a little bit more thicker support through the sole. And the ankle height on these boots is, I guess it's called mid-ankle height, but typically I prefer more like a trail running shoe style when I go on hikes. So a lot of these boots are different than what I'm typically used to wearing. So I lace these ones all the way up to the top, and I'm starting to get some rubbing and some pain on my ankle like I did on that last pair. So overall, I'm not wowed by these. We'll see how the next 2 pairs do. It's week 4, so I'm on to my 4th boot. Actually, it is Friday, so I'm almost through the week, and I have been wearing these. I'm out camping over the 4th of July weekend. I've been wearing these boots all week, and you can see that they are dirty and filthy. So I have been wearing them, and I will share my experience with them so far during this week. These are the Avalanche men's multifunctional lightweight hiking trail casual boot, and they were $33.92 on Amazon when I bought them. And when I first put these on Monday, I immediately didn't like them. Do you know that feeling when you're at the shoe store and you put a pair of shoes on and almost instantaneously you're like, this just aren't the ones for me? And that's how I felt when I put these on. Everything about it seems kind of thin and flimsy. The soles, the material, the laces, everything about it just felt off to me. But in my commitment to this experiment, I have been wearing them through this whole trip, and they have been put to the test, maybe in a sense more than any of the other boots so far, because it has been all kind of crazy conditions up here in the mountains. It was rainy all yesterday in our camp spot. It turned into a marshy mud pit, and so I've been wearing them. Luna. So I've been wearing them through that. We've been jeeping, so I've been wearing them as trepping around through the mountains. So they have been put to work, and I'm not too happy with these. I immediately had to put my insoles, my custom insoles in here. That's something I haven't had to do with any of the other ones. I was able to get by fine without it. These I immediately had to do it. And maybe they feel, they run a little bit larger. So these are an 11, but they felt a little loose. So maybe they run a little bit big. Maybe a 10.5 might be better, would it been equivalent of 11 in the other shoes. The soles are thin, so you have that same issue of if you're going through rough terrain, you're really feeling everything. It says that they are water resistant, but I would not say they're great at being water resistant. Like I said, it was rainy and muddy all yesterday and even into the day. The sun finally came out for a few minutes. It's starting to dry out the ground, and I was feeling my toes and everything were wet, so it was not very good at being water resistant. I wonder if this is going to come out on the camera, but I kind of put the shoes a little too close to the fire, and they kind of melted there. I like to read some of the Amazon reviews, but I don't have any cell phone signal out here, so I can't get in the Amazon. But I did notate the star review. Let me see if I can find it here on my phone. Okay, so these got a rating of 3.5 out of 22 reviews. So I'm going to finish out this week, and we have one more pair of boots to go, and those ones are going to be the upper limit at $49.99. It's week 5, the last week of the under $50 boot challenge, and the boots that I have been wearing through the week so far are the Q-Day hiking boots, and these were $49.99 on Amazon when I bought them. And these boots look most like what you consider a hiking boot to look like, and they also have that feel. They have a nice solid thick sole. I haven't had a chance to take them on a hike yet. It is Friday, so I'll take them out for a hike either Saturday or Sunday to really see how they're going to feel. But I've been wearing them all throughout the week, just doing ordinary life stuff, and they have felt good. I'm curious to see how it feels in a long hike. The last couple of pairs of boots have been really giving me pain rubbing around the high ankle. I didn't really like that. So far, these haven't been giving me that problem. There's a pretty good amount of cushion in there. When I was looking at the ratings on Amazon for this boot, it got a 4.3 out of 27 reviews. 27 reviews is not very many, so usually when reviews are that low, I don't trust them whether they give the product a good review or a bad review. But 4.3 seems a little low based on my initial feelings. But like I said, I haven't taken it for a long hike. Maybe that will change. I'm going to find some of the reviews in Amazon and share a few when I take them on the hike. I'm a mile into my hike, so I figure this is a good time for an update. The boots feel familiar. They feel like how a typical hiking boot feels when you're wearing them on the trail. There's plenty of cushion. The soles are nice and firm. I'm not having any foot pain by stepping on the rocks or the roots or anything like that. So they're performing the best out of all of them on the trail. So overall, I have a pretty good opinion of them compared to the last 4 pairs. I don't feel any rubbing. I'm not feeling that pain on my upper ankle like I had in the last couple of pairs, but I'll provide an update because I'm still only a little over a mile into the hike. But if it does become a problem, I will let you know. But so far, so good. And I want to take the time to read a couple of reviews that I found about these boots. And I think when I first bought them, it was like 4.3 stars out of like 25 or 27 reviews. When I recently looked again to find the 5 and 1-star reviews, there's more reviews, and now it's up to 4.5, which I feel is probably better, more accurate rating for these boots based on my time using them. I found a 5-star review here, and it says, I took my dog for a walk through the snow. Feet stayed dry and comfortable for the entire day. Go over here to the side, Luna. I've been wearing the boots all week at work, trying to break them in, wearing them for about 12 to 13 hours a day with about 2 to 3 miles of walking. These boots are comfortable, but very stiff to start out. They were a little taller than I normally wear, but the price and features outweighed my preference for a mid-height boot. For as big as they are comfortable, lightweight, and I have worn them all day. I wear an 11 and they were a perfect fit. I say you could buy with confidence that you're not wasting your money on these boots. So that's a good review, and there's some things here I definitely relate to. For me, I like a lower height boot because now I'm just starting to notice that kind of feeling where it's rubbing against my upper ankle, and I just don't know if it's me personally. I just don't like that. I found a 1-star review. It just doesn't have a lot to say. It says the size isn't accurate, and I wouldn't agree with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with the size. So if there was any critiques of the boot, the size being accurate isn't one of them. I'm going to finish up this hike, and next time you see me, I'm going to have all the boots together, and I am going to rank them and tell you which one I think is the best value for your money. I have the results here. I decided to rank each of these boots based on comfort, style, durability, and price. And it's a point ranking system, 5 points for the most comfortable boot, and going down from there, the least comfortable boot getting a 1, and then adding up the points. So we're going to go ahead and get started here. And the boots that I like the least out of all 5 pairs is the Avalanche, and this boot costs $33.92, and I gave it an overall score of 5, so it did not do well at all. For comfort, I gave it a 1. It's just very thin, not a lot of cushion, not a lot of support, it just feels flimsy. Style, I gave it a 2. It's not horrible, it just looks kind of like a generic boot. Durability, I gave it a 1. It just feels so cheaply built that there's no way it's going to be able to stand up to a lot of abuse. I don't see how it's going to be able to do it, even though I did melt the front end there on the fire. And for price, at $33.92, also gave it a 1. There's cheaper boots here that perform better, and that's how it got them to their 5. Not happy with these at all. Next up, coming in with a score of 10 is the Care Nurse boots, and these were priced at $30. So for these boots, for comfort, I actually came in on the higher end at a 4. These boots have that furry lining on the inside, and it was pretty comfortable. The soles were relatively thick, so when I was actually on the hike, it wasn't torture. For style, I gave these things a 1. I think they're just kind of blah and generic looking. Definitely did not like the looks of these. The only thing that saves it is it's just black, so it can at least blend into just about anything. Durability, I gave it a 3, and nothing about these boots really stood out as far as being necessarily bad or even great. When I was thinking about them, they were just okay. So that's how I came to the 3. And for price, I gave it a 2, because $30 is kind of on the higher end of this test. And I think when you're talking about value overall, some of these were probably a little bit better value. Either go a little cheaper and it'll be about the same, or just spend a little bit more and get a lot better. Next, coming in with a score of 11, so essentially a tie with the last pair of boots, is the Norvid 8 boots, and these cost $25. For the Norvid, for comfort, I gave it a 3. When I was just wearing them around, running errands, going to work, they were perfectly comfortable. Nothing to complain about. Not great, not bad. That's why I gave them the 3. On the hike, not very good on the hike. I would definitely consider these more leaning towards a work boot than a hiking boot. I would not want to do a long hike in these, but if you're just looking for a shoe to wear around to work and short walks, perfectly fine. Style, I gave it a 3, also just kind of meh. It looks like a work hike boot. Definitely not meant to be high fashion. It was just okay. Durability, for durability, I decided just to give it a 2. And the bottom of the soles felt good, but surprisingly, I was getting a lot of wear on this outer material, scuffing and peeling. So, and the lace is kind of ripped, so it's all kind of cosmetic and easily fixable things. But if it's starting to do that with only a week's worth of wear, when do the more important things start to go to? So the overall durability, I was really starting to question once I started to take a look at the wear and tear was on them just by me using them for the week. For price, I came in at a score of a 3, just kind of mid-range there, coming at $25. It was the middle of the price range, so not a bad price to value ratio. Not great, but not horrible either. Okay, so that gets us to our final 2, and we have quite the contrast. The cheapest boot to the most expensive boot. So coming in at number 2 with a score of 15 is the cheapest boots we have here. The name that's not even really named, the TSIODFO, I don't know if that's abbreviation or some weird pronunciation, coming in at a price at $16.90. For comfort, I put it in as a 2, and the material on the inside, like that fur, that was comfortable, kind of like those black care nurses, but I had to bring it in at a low score because of how flimsy and thin the soles feel. So if you're using it just as more like a casual boot walking around sidewalks and streets and that kind of stuff, it's not really an issue. But if you actually want to take these out on a hike, I just was not feeling it. That's why I had to bring them in at 2 for comfort. For style, these actually came in as a 5 for style, the top of all of these, because they have more of like a casual boot feel. They also have a kind of casual boot look. So this is actually something you could wear out with some jeans, and when you're going out and people aren't going to be looking like, are you just about to hike Everest or something? So I think they have a nice style to them. Some generic Timbs. Durability, I brought it in at a 4, and I will give the caveat is like, I don't know how these are going to perform for a long period of time, but just based on the week, it looks really good. When I was comparing it with all the other ones, as far as the seals holding up and the outer material not being scratched or peeling or some kind of discoloration or any of those other things, they look actually pretty good. Like they've only been wearing a few times, even though I was putting them to work for an entire week. So based on this short period of time, they held up pretty good. Over a long period of time, to be determined. Price, they came in at a strong 4 because they're the cheapest boot. They're $16.90, and when it comes down to it, how much can you expect for $16.90? If you get a year out of these, that is a value. You can't even eat at Five Guys for $16.90 if you want a full meal. So that leaves the final boot, the winner, coming in at a score of 19, which basically took the number, it took 5 points for every category except one, are the Q-Day hiking boots. For comfort, I put them in as 5. The soles had a lot of support and cushion, so whether I was walking on the sidewalk or when I was on the trail, it felt comfortable. There's support on the inside. The only thing I didn't like, I did have the rubbing on my upper ankle, but I think that might just be a personal preference. But if you like high ankle boots, there's plenty of cushion and comfort. And so comparing it to these other budget boots, it was the most comfortable. Style, it came in at a 4, just behind the boots I just showed you. They're definitely not stylish, but they have the look of a hiking boot. So if you were to see these, you're like, okay, that's the standard look for a nice pair of hiking boots. So that's why I gave them a 4. Durability, 5. There is no signs of any wear or tear or any issues, so they look like they are going to be able to hold up probably the most out of all of the boots that I tested out. And coming at a price, it also was a winner at price with the 5. So even though it was the most expensive boot at $49.99, you get the most value for your $50. It does everything well. It's comfortable, it looks decent, it is durable. So for the $50, you are getting a pretty good value. So that's why I went with these as the winner. After doing this 5 weeks of testing, my opinion is price matters when you're looking for a nice pair of hiking boots. So $50 isn't bad, and if you're looking for the best possible price, I think these will get you by. All the other ones, they're just not going to hold up. They're not going to be as comfortable. They're not going to be as durable. And when it comes to footwear, I think it's just better to spend up anyways. I'm going to continue these testing with like pants and shirts and other gear. But my personal experience has been that you don't really see too much of a difference in those items, whether you're paying $100 or $20 or $15. But when it comes to footwear, I do notice a difference, and that makes sense because your feet take a lot of punishment. If you're going to hiking and outdoors, you're putting the shoes through a lot of punishment, and you need to take care of your feet. So I do see a difference there. So I do want to run some more tests, like maybe comparing these boots like with a really nice top quality hiking boot to see how they hold up for a significant period of time to see if there's a difference. But so far, I think when it comes to shoes, you get what you pay for. It's probably better to pay a little bit more.